Friday's Economic Roundup with Ken Schortgen of thedailyeconomist.com.
Welcome back to the Angel Clark Show. It's Friday. That means it is Economic Roundup Day. We are joined by Ken Schortgen. Ken is the National Finance Examiner for Examiner.com. He has the website, thedailyeconomist.com, and he joins us once a week to talk all things economics. Ken, I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. And now I get to ask you my favorite question of the week. What's going down in economic Groovetown, dude, man?
Oh, we got war going on. We've got geopolitics as usual. And for once, while everybody loves the doom, I've stumbled across something that I've checked with a number of different banking insiders and people involved. And I'm going to talk about a potential opportunity for people what to do with their fiat currency if they have in mind to get it out of the banking system.
Oh.
So it's just one of those that's an option, an opportunity. There's no pushing, there's no selling, but there's a lot of good things going for it. And if you want to consider it sort of an alternative to Bitcoin, it runs along the same type of channel. So we'll go with that. But starting off today, there's a couple of Obamacare stories that are quite interesting. Now, everybody knows or has heard the urban legend about how in the 1990s the IRS took over the Mustang Ranch in Nevada.
Oh,
now,
yeah,
Mustang
the
Ranch.
one that was, what was it? It was they sold sex and alcohol.
Yeah. They took over the Mustang Ranch, and by law, they were sort of forced to try to run the business to pay off the debts that the owner had to the IRS. And in a very short time, it went bankrupt, and they ended up having to sell it. So it tells you right there, if the government can't make money selling prostitution and booze, then can we really trust them with something as big as healthcare?
I say no.
Well, remember when the Obamacare website came out?
Yes.
And we found out that not only was the no-bid contract given to a friend of Michelle Obama who went to college with her, but it ended up costing $1 billion for a website that did not function on the first day.
Yes. Oh, and, also we found out later that a lot of people's information was hacked from that website.
Yeah, there was no security, so a lot of people got their information hacked right off. Well, since that website opened last year, the cost of $1 billion, which was far greater than the estimates that the Obama administration gave to and HHS gave to Congress when they passed the law, it is now up over $2.1 billion. This is for the website alone.
Wow.
This is not for all the functions and the bureaucracies and the state-run, depositories, whatever, that people can get their insurance from. This is just for the website alone. So imagine what the cost overrun is going to be very quickly over the next 10 years for Obamacare.
I can't even wrap my head around that. How much do you think it's going to be?
Upwards of $73 billion
Oh, my gosh.
in the next 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
Far above the estimates. I mean, we already lost $25 billion when we nationalized General Motors, taxpayer money, but these days they can print it up, so I guess it really doesn't matter.
That's true.
But on another side with Obamacare, you remember the big joke, pseudo joke, we'll put it as a sarcastic joke, that came out when people started reading the bill and they stumbled upon the death panels?
Yes.
I.e., when you get to be a certain age, if you have certain ailments, Obamacare regulators, these panels will decide if you can get treatment or not.
Yes, I've heard this.
Well, the father and architect of that was Rahm Emanuel, former chief of staff and now mayor of Chicago. His brother, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, a well-known eugenicist who believes that you should kill off the disabled, you should kill off the old, you should kill off anybody who is a useless leader in society.
I guess I know that there are people who feel that way, But it's just, I guess it's frustrating to me because I feel like then the people who feel that way have no concept of a real emotion, have no concept of love, no understanding of love. I feel like they're sociopaths because I certainly would never, no matter how old my parents get or how disabled they get, no matter what they can or cannot do, I wouldn't do anything to harm them in any way, shape, or form.
Well, exactly. And, after the big brouhaha about the death panels came out, Dr. Emanuel sort of went into, back to what he was doing, running a national health institute. But as with all psychopaths who have these things about society, they can't stay hidden for long. And earlier this week, Dr. Emanuel wrote an op-ed for the Atlantic newspaper. And he said that he is looking forward to and hopes that people only live to the age of 75 and they die.
Really?
That really there's no quality of life after age 75, and the cost of doing healthcare for anybody over that age makes it a non-benefit to society.
He's not paying attention to technology at all, is he?
No, but then again, when you are a Malthusian and you are overwhelmed by the Malthus is an economist back about the 1700s who wrote a theory that populations double every certain amount of years, and that if we kept going, that the population would be so big that we couldn't sustain it on the earth. And so, of course, you have a lot of followers, and that's where the eugenist movement actually came from.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that, but I guess I never knew the name of the guy who created it. Yeah,
Thomas Malthus. He was actually a ordained minister, and his father was an ordained minister. So here you have a quote-unquote man of God who believes in killing off the population because the Earth's not sustainable. Irony in the greatest aspect, But we've got some other interesting things. Going into what the big story today, Goldman Sachs tapes were revealed from a whistleblower. Now, this whistleblower was fired by Goldman Sachs for trying to get them to have more integrity in their operations as a broker. And what this lady found out is she was fired because she wouldn't go along with the system. She went to court over it, and the judge threw it out. And the judge just happened to have a husband who worked for Goldman Sachs, so there was so much conflict of interest that the whole thing was just corrupt from the beginning. Yeah. But the purpose behind these 47.5 hours of Goldman Sachs tapes that were suddenly released to the public shows how the regulators in the U.S. government, as well as in the Fed, break the law and overlook illegality to ensure that both sides are protected in this massive crony capitalism.
Hold on to that thought, Ken. We have to step away for just a moment. The Angel Clark Show will return. More with Ken Schortgen coming up.
My people, these are desperate times indeed. Very few will escape.
This is the Angel Clark Show.